What's up, everybody? It's B. Middleton, and welcome back to the Redskins review. We just got done watching the Redskins-Falcons first preseason game, and I'm making this video right after the game, so it's going to be a little bit of a rant, but it's going to be things I'm trying to remember right away from the game. At first, I was so excited when the game first started and our starters were out there, and you're sitting here like, oh man, football is back, and I was a little bit nervous too because, first impressions, if Kirk Cousins would have came out here and thrown an interception the first play of the game or something, the fan base would be going crazy, so I was a little bit nervous for our players and stuff like that, but it was just so exciting at the beginning of the game, and then in the middle of the game, it just started becoming a odd and slow, grueling, painful fucking thing to watch, man. And at the end of the game, it got back a little bit more into that exciting feeling where Nate Sudfeld almost had a chance to come back and win the game for us. Also, before, since I'm talking about the flow of the game, I will get into our personnel and how they did, but I want to talk about the flow of the game a little bit first. Like I said, our starters did pretty good, but goddamn Kyle Shanahan, man, this game wouldn't have gone. We wouldn't have lost this game if it wasn't for a few key factors. Obviously, the kickoff return. You never want that to happen. Besides the one kickoff return, I think our special teams did a pretty damn good job the entire game, except for the one kickoff return. But also, it is preseason. The kickoff is where the most people get hurt, injured, or whatever, so people might not be playing full 100% on that play, so I can understand that. But besides that, our special teams looked good. But besides the kickoff return, we also gave up a lot of big, deep passes and bootlegs and play action. Now, see, this is a thing that I'm not extremely worried about it right now because Kyle Shanahan and the Falcons were calling plays that they would probably not really honestly call if it wasn't the preseason. In a real game, they probably wouldn't be doing this. What they kept doing was they saw that they would come out in a run formation, and the Redskins showed, hey, if you want to come out in a run formation, we're going to get ready to stop your run. And then they kept coming out with these bootlegs and just violating Quentin Dunbar down the field. It was pretty bad. But the thing is, teams aren't going to be running a bootleg every single time they come into a run formation. The Falcons are probably going to go into the locker room and say, hey, we don't really have that much footage of our guys running the ball. Now, they did have a little bit of success a few times running the ball, but besides that, it seemed like they just kept throwing the ball. They just kept throwing it and kept throwing it and kept throwing it. And then the Redskins, when we would come out, and the Falcons, they kept coming out in a run-stopping defense when we came out in an offense, and we still committed to trying to run the ball. That's why people have not that many rushing yards and stuff like that. But over on the other side, the Falcons, they were like, no, we just want to score points. We just want to win this game. But this is preseason. This is more for getting a lot of things on film, stuff like that. So they really kind of just took advantage of us seeing them stack up in a run offense and our defense saying, hey, we're going to help. We're going to come up and stop the run. Of course, if they beat us on a bootleg once or twice or whatever, that's okay. But they just kept doing it. They just kept trying to beat us deep on bootlegs every single time they came out here and tried to run the ball. It's just not realistic. It's just not what would happen in a real NFL game. So I'm not extremely worried about it. There are still concerns. It did happen, which means it possibly could happen in a game. But let's start off with our first string guys, our starters. They played pretty well in my opinion. Kirk Cousins came in, went 5 for 5 for about 40 yards, spread the ball out to different wide receivers and things like that. His decision making looked good. He had time to throw the ball, which is credit to our offensive line. He didn't mess anything up. He looked like the Kirk Cousins of old, the guy that we've become to love. good day for Kirk Cousins. We did have a penalty for Morgan Moses apparently held on a play, or we would have probably went down and actually scored a touchdown, I believe, in my opinion, if it wasn't for the penalties, which yet again, like I said, the long, grueling ass game, there was like 25, 26 goddamn penalties in the game. Oh my god, dude, like what are we doing? This is ridiculous. The game lasted so much longer than you would imagine because of these goddamn penalties, these goddamn referees. It was just laughable at times. Half the time, like at the end where it was the field goal and we didn't even touch the kicker and they called a penalty, it's like, come on, dude. It's not even regular season and these penalties are through the roof. It's ridiculous. And then like the one play that I'm talking about, Matt Jones had a decent run to the right side, and they called Morgan Moses for holding. When I watched the play, there was absolutely not holding on the goddamn play. Morgan Moses had this dude like this, and the guy put his arms up in the air like this. Just because the guy puts his arms up in the air doesn't mean he's being held. That's bullshit. That's why Morgan Moses straight had this guy right by his pads and held and pushed him all the way away from the play. That's why there was such a huge lane for Matt Jones to go up there. It was ridiculous. Matt Jones, that was probably his best run of the day. I don't know how long it was, but it was a pretty good run, and it was definitely not holding on the play. We should have kept moving. We probably would have scored more points on that drive with our starters in. So I think our starters did pretty well. So let's go through some more critiques. Kirk Cousins looks good. Looks like the guy that we know. Promising. Can't wait to see him again. He got out of the game pretty quick. And then let's go to running backs. Matt Jones looked pretty good. Didn't really have that many opportunities to run the ball. Didn't have that many opportunities. He wasn't on the field that often. I would have liked to see him on the field some more. Don't know why we took him out that soon. I mean, I guess if we're taking out most of the ones, I understand. He's like, well, I'm a one, take me out. But the offensive line looked really good. Kirk Cousins had a decent time to throw the ball, and Kirk made the good reads. The offensive line, credit to them. They stayed in a little bit longer, and they did pretty well the entire time. Only near the end, Nate Sudfeld, he was pressured a few times, and also Colt McCoy had once or twice maybe he got pressured. But besides that, our offensive line, first, second, and third string guys did pretty good job. Wide receivers, awesome job. We have a really good, if you count Jordan Reed as a receiver, our receiving core on our team is fantastic with guys like Rashad Ross and Ryan Grant. Ross did have a couple of drops. You know, it sucks to see that, but this is the preseason. Hopefully he can get his shit together. I would have loved to see Jamison Crowder out there getting some reps, but he didn't play. As the wide receivers, Deshaun Jackson had a catch. Our guys did pretty good, as you would expect. And then we got to get to it. Vernon Davis, he dropped the most beautiful pass of the goddamn game. 40-yard pass from Colt McCoy, touchdown, boom, right in his hands, dropped it, man. But that was with the twos. Let me go back to the ones. Our defense. The thing that jumps out at me right away on our defense, man, is Will Compton. I'm becoming a huge fan of this guy now. He just seems to be the guy making the plays. Awesome in the run defense. He was doing such a good job. You were, playing against Devonta Freeman, man. A dangerous guy. We held him. We limited his yards and things like that. Will Compton was up there smashing people, getting psyched up. He really seems to be like the life of our defense right now, and I like that. Really becoming a Will Compton fan. And then another guy who I was really kind of worried about, and you guys have seen me criticize multiple times, is Trent Murphy. Trent Murphy did have one penalty, but besides that, I have to admit, Trent Murphy did look pretty good. He was in the backfield for a couple of plays, disrupting plays, just living in the backfield. That's good to see. I'm skeptical of Trent Murphy, but if he's working out and he's doing good, I got to praise him for it. He had a pretty good game. So who else? We didn't really get to see anything from Josh Norman, but Bashaud Breeland, yet again making plays. He was on Julio Jones the whole time, and Julio Jones didn't do shit. Bashaud Breeland is like my favorite player net right now, man. I think the next jersey that I get is going to be a Bashaud Breeland jersey. That dude is just unreal. I'm trying to think of who else. Our defensive line was pretty good. Like I said, they were pretty disruptive, getting to Matt Ryan, even though we didn't really have sacks and things like that. He was pressured multiple times. Also, didn't really see D. Hall do much, but he didn't have to. But here comes to another point of mine. I did see David Bruton Jr. not fucking hustling. I saw him miss at least 2 tackles, and I saw him not fucking hustling. I am going to be pretty fucking pissed if we come into the next game versus the Jets and we don't see fucking Duke Iheanacho in David Bruton Jr.'s spot. Or I'll even take Will Blackman at David Bruton Jr.'s spot. This motherfucker, when they look at the tape, oh man, come on, man. You have the chance to be a one. And I saw him at the end of plays not hustling to get to a tackle. Sure, Devonta Freeman should have been tackled before it came down to Bruton Jr., but he should have fucking hustled and got there and tackled him for minimize his yards. And then also at the near the ending of I think at the end of the second quarter where they goddamn whoever their quarterback was had a pretty deep pass to someone to set up like a field goal or something like that. Bruton Jr. yet again was not. He didn't hustle. He wasn't there to pass defend this guy, and they got a field goal out of it when they had 10 seconds left or something like that on the clock. We gave up like a pretty far pass, and he's standing right there. He could have made a break on the ball. Clearly, this one guy was the only guy that was open, and he didn't make a play. Like I said, David Bruton Jr., not a huge fan right now. Duke Iheanacho was making plays. He was hustling. He showed a lot of effort. He had a fire. I hope we don't see David Bruton Jr. as a starter next game. He needs something to wake him up and make him fight like Duke Iheanacho was. So I might be missing a few guys, but let's go to the twos. Colt McCoy. I'm a big fan of Colt McCoy. He's a really good backup. He threw the ball perfect, probably the most perfect, the most beautiful pass of the entire game, 40-yard pass to goddamn Vernon Davis. Hit him right in the goddamn hands for a touchdown, and he drops it. Let's hope that's just a fluke. But, I mean, this has been a criticism of Vernon Davis's for a while. And like the announcer said, Vernon Davis was really fast. He did have the speed and everything, but it doesn't fucking matter if you're dropping the fucking ball in the end zone, man. If he would have caught that pass, we would have won. You see what I'm saying? So Colt McCoy, good on him. After the play where Vernon Davis dropped it, Colt McCoy did throw the ball into the grounds when he was trying to get it to Chris Thompson. But hey, I'd be kind of upset too if you're back on the field when he didn't need to be because he just threw a touchdown pass. But besides that, Colt McCoy, good decision making. Looks like the Colt McCoy of old. Nothing to fret. Solid backup. Good job. Good day for him. Chris Thompson, didn't really see too much from him running the ball. He only had 1 carry, and he just didn't have anywhere to go. He didn't get any yards. It was no gain. But he did have a few catches on the sidelines and things like that, which is exactly who he has been, and that's why I'm a huge fan of his. He's getting yards, making something out of nothing, at least in the passing game. And then Keith Marshall, I know a ton of you guys, a few of you guys have sat here and tried to just explain to me how good this guy is, how much potential he has. But if I am Chris Thompson, I am not sweating at all over Keith Marshall right now from taking my spot, because he did not a goddamn thing. Now I understand it's not just him, it's blocking and things like that, but he just didn't seem like he knew what the fuck he was doing. Yet again, next game, I want to see Duke and Nacho starting over David Bruton Jr. for safety, and I want to see, please, for the love of Christ, can Mac Brown start over Keith Marshall? Can we see more Mac Brown than Keith Marshall, please? Mac Brown was out there killing it. He killed it last year. My last video, I mentioned his goddamn name for a reason. Last year, Mac Brown, we had such depth at running back. Mac Brown stood out. I said it again my last video, and here we go again today. Mac Brown, even though he was going versus 2s or 3s, still that guy, we need to give him more reps, man. Give whoever shows up more reps. For the 2s, who else made plays? Matt Ioannidis, he had one play. Martrell Spate, a guy that I've really been waiting to see. He had a few plays, had a pretty good day. He had the most tackles on our team. He had a really good blitz and caught the guy in the backfield. The only downside to Martrell Spate was that he was out there on the field. I saw him, number 50, on the kickoff return, that we gave them the kickoff return. He was out there on special teams. But besides that, Martrell Spate had a good day, I think. He was really pretty good versus the run. Sua Cravens, you guys. Sua Cravens is a natural tackler. When you see this guy, when he had the punt return tackle, he was in the backfield multiple times tackling guys, tackled a guy near the sidelines one time on a toss or whatever. When you see this guy just come up and tackle somebody, it is something just so beautiful, man. This Sua Cravens is a goddamn natural. I cannot wait to see him. He's going to be taking somebody's job if they do not perform. That kid is something special. People have been telling me, I mean, there's a reason we drafted him in the 2nd spot. Cannot get enough of Sua Cravens. I'm sure you guys saw the same thing that I saw. Just he looked like he was ready. He looked like he was focused. He looked like he's been there before, and he's playing people in the NFL now. Sua Cravens, didn't see much of Kendall Fuller. Don't know. Didn't really see him do anything. Like I said, Duke and Nacho was a fan. Will Blackman, I saw on a few plays. Didn't really do much on the kick returning from Will Blackman, but he seemed pretty good at safety. Just trying to think of more people. You know, our 1s really weren't out there for too long, man. The 2s, there was a lot of guys out there. Trent Murphy played for a long time. He played with the 2s as well. I'm trying to think of more plays that stood out, man, and there was just so many penalties. There was so many penalties in the game. It's so hard for me to recall what I just watched. It's ridiculous how long that game was. The penalties. Ziggy Hood, I think he had a penalty for being offsides. Preston Smith had a few good plays. Preston Smith was in the backfield a lot with the 1s. Preston Smith did have a penalty for lining up offsides as well. These are things that probably just would not be caught in regular season games. It's ridiculous, man. But all in all, man, during the middle of the game, I was sitting here. It was, 23-6, and I'm sitting here like, man, this is not going the way we want it to go. But then Nate Sudfeld, Nate Sudfeld, I can understand why Gruden was a quarterback. He's a quarterback guy. I can understand why he liked bringing in Nate Sudfeld. I did not know that Nate never played really from under center in wherever he came from. I didn't know that, but he seemed okay doing it. But the thing that stood out to me about Nate Sudfeld was he is a gifted passer. This guy, you can tell that he just wants, when you give him the opportunity, he wants to throw that ball. He's got skills doing it. He seemed so calm and cool and collective when he was out there for being his first NFL start. It's really he has a good upside. He didn't come back and win the game for us there at the end, but there's a lot of upside for him. I'm glad we have him on the team. We have a new guy, a younger guy, who hopefully can learn how to play under center and can help us out and help us win. I can't get over these penalties, you guys. There's another Quentin Dunbar. He at times showed really good ability at stretching out and stopping passes as if he's a wide receiver himself, because he is trying to catch the ball. But he got burnt multiple times, man. It was just ridiculous. But like I said, these are also situations that weren't going to keep happening in a real NFL game. The Falcons just kept gambling and gambling and gambling so many times during this game. That's not how the NFL is played. Sure, does it happen? Yes, it happens. But that's not traditionally how the NFL games go. Like I said, I'm sure the Falcons are going to sit back and go, hey, we don't have the footage on our guys rushing the ball, because they just wanted to come out and just keep slinging it, throwing it down the field, trying to catch us, on our toes and shit like that, and not, get us out of bad situations, which, good on him. Good, Kyle Shanahan, whatever, good on him for being smart. But it sucks. We lost the game. I feel like we do have, if it was 23-6 in the end of the game, and that was the end of the game, I would be pretty worried. I'd say, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of stuff that our coaches need to go through and talk to our guys and things like that. But 23-17 sounds a lot better. Our team definitely made a comeback and showed that they didn't quit, things like that. Another guy's name that I kept hearing, Deshaun Phillips. He was in and around the ball a lot. Another guy, Greg Toller. Greg Toller really showed his veteran side out there. Had a few good plays. Glad to see him doing good. This video is going on so long, and I apologize that when this game was going on, I was making all these mental notes. The mental notes, like Deshaun Phillips, kept hearing his name. Those are things that I kept trying to remember. But these penalties, dude, I'm sorry that I forgot a lot of the stuff that I want to say, guys. But I did 20-some minutes. That's kind of long. So let me know what you guys think about the game. Can't wait to see what happens. Hopefully those changes that I said, I want to see Duke and Nacho, and we'll see Mac Brown moved up. Guys who produce, move them up. Keith Marshall didn't show much. Maybe he didn't have many holes or anything like that, but still he just did not show much. Someone else needs that spot. All right. So as always, hail to the Redskins. Let me know what you guys think. Do you agree with me? I know you guys who like Marshall are still going to sit here and say give him more chances, of course. But we'll see. Hail to the Redskins. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.